My pro tennis career was taking off like a rocket ship until I felt a pop in my ankle. My name is Jeff Salzenstein. I'm a leadership speaker and performance coach. I help humans own their zone. I get on stages all over the world because my big why is to help people show up at their best using this Own Your Zone framework. And I wouldn't have developed this Own Your Zone framework if it wasn't for that pop in my ankle. I had just played Michael Chang at the US Open 3 months earlier, world number 2 Michael Chang, in front of 24,000 people under the bright lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium with John McEnroe announcing the match. I had won the first set, then I lost the next 3 sets because I couldn't handle the pressure. The pressure of the moment was too much for me to handle. The pressure was very real. Maybe you can relate to the pressure that you have felt in your life. Tennis is a beautiful metaphor for life, especially at the highest levels of competitive tennis, because you have to learn how to deal with the pressure. I did it reasonably well, but not well enough. The good news is that a lot of people saw that match and they thought, wow, this guy has it. He's going to rise to the top of the tennis rankings. And that was validated because the next day after playing Michael Chang, I'm sitting in a Midtown Manhattan hotel suite with Jeff Schwartz. Jeff Schwartz was the super agent for Pete Sampras. And I'm sitting across from Jeff Schwartz going, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? But the reason I was there is because they saw me playing Michael Chang the night before and they said, this guy's good. Let's sign him to a contract. He was an agent for IMG, powerhouse agency. So I signed with them and my career is about to take off like a rocket ship. I go play some tournaments in the fall, some challenger events to raise my ranking to get into the top 100. And it didn't go as planned. I struggled. The expectations that I felt after signing that contract, after playing Chang, it was also too much for me to handle. The pressure I put on myself. And I shrunk. I couldn't handle the pressure in the moment. And I wasn't that much fun to be around. I was moody. I was maybe borderline depressed. I was frustrated. It was a hard time after the big high that I had of playing Michael Chang and getting all of that attention. I still thought I was in good shape going into the next year. And I remember playing a pickup basketball game at Greenwood Athletic Club in Denver, Colorado, where I'm from. And I'm playing this pickup game. I'm wanting to, work on my endurance, and that type of cross training was more fun than just going for a run. And I come down for a rebound. I grab the ball, I come down for a rebound, and I feel a sharp pain, a pop in my right ankle. Oh no, what is that? I've had one injury before, a sprained ankle in college, but this felt different. And when I started walking, I was limping. I couldn't put all my weight on my right foot, on my right ankle. This was the beginning of a painful journey around these career-threatening injuries. I went to all the best doctors. 1 doctor, 2 doctors, they said I had a stress reaction. They put me in a boot for months. I'd get out of the boot. I'd start playing competitive tennis again. Guess what? Start hurting. This went on for 8 months. Now, I don't know if I was misdiagnosed or not, but my ankle wasn't getting better. So 8 months in, I'm playing another tournament on the East Coast, wanting to play in the qualifying of the US Open in the next week. And again, the pain in the ankle comes back. So I go to a doctor in New York. He takes 1 x-ray, sees a bone spur in the front of my ankle, in the talus area, the front part of the ankle. And he looks at me and he says, we got to take this bone spur out. I was like, well, I wish someone would have told me that 8 months ago. So we get the bone spur out, relatively clean surgery, but there's still some question on if I can make it back. And Dr. Alchek, who performed the surgery, says, listen, you have lost your ankle mobility. You've got to get it back. You got to stretch. Well, stretching was boring to me, so I went to my first yoga class. And that was the beginning, the opening, the expansion of being able to study all things high performance. Because if I was going to come back and play pro tennis at the highest level, if I was going to come back better, stronger, physically, mentally, and emotionally, I needed to learn these skills. So I started this process of becoming obsessed with all things high performance, pouring my life into it at 24 years old. Because when your body is failing you at 24 years old, when you're living in your parents' basement and you have no income coming in, no prize money, And you can't get a date because the women find out you're living in your parents' basement. All right. When that's happening, you got to look yourself in the mirror and decide what you want to do. And that's what I did. It was a defining moment in my life. And so I started going to yoga classes. I started unpacking these limiting thoughts and beliefs that I had, these stories I was telling myself that were holding me back. I started processing pent-up emotions like anger, fear, frustration, shame, guilt, and worry, things that were holding me back against the best players in the world. And I worked on making the comeback. Step by step, one step at a time, nobody noticing, being forgotten on the pro tour. The agent can't do anything for me. And I come back and play my first pro tournament in 6 months. And I am beating a guy named Daniel Nestor, who went on to have an incredible career, better career in doubles than singles, but he had an incredible career. And I'm beating this guy in my first match back. And guess what? I feel a click in the back of my knee. Oh, like the pain, the suffering, the frustration of I just worked for 6 months to come back. And now I've got this pain in my knee. So that leads to surgery in my left knee. And had I not pushed the doctors in the room where they said, listen, just put a brace on your leg. You have a strained ACL. Just put a big brace on your leg and get back out there, champ. I looked at them. I said, no. We're not putting a brace on my leg from the top of my leg near my hip bone all the way down to my ankle. I'm not doing that. We got to solve this. And they found a different solution, a different diagnosis, thankfully, because I pressed them. But this led me on the journey into high performance. If I didn't have these two career-threatening injuries, my life would have turned out completely different. I probably wouldn't be doing the work that I'm doing today to help you own your zone. I learned all things high performance on this journey. I was my own guinea pig. I was my lab rat, if you will. I tried things. I messed up. I failed. I did all the different diets. I drank the different water, the Kool-Aid. I started drinking green drinks, alkaline water, going to acupuncturists and chiropractors and healers and doing all the things 25, 30 years ago. Following the trends, pattern recognition, seeing how I could up-level my performance. And by doing that, that allowed me to break the top 100 in the world for the first time at the age of 30. It took me 7 years, and it took those 2 injuries, and it took all the failures with my body breaking down, with my mindset failing me, with my inability to process my emotions in the moment against the best players in the world. I was able to work on those skills to get to that next level, to break through, to break that plateau. So I want you to think about the adversity and the things that you've had to go through in your life, the defining moments that you've experienced. Maybe it wasn't an ankle injury, maybe it wasn't a knee injury, but I am sure there is something equivalent. And maybe you're in the middle of one right now, a defining moment, a transition, a hard time, a painful time. There's suffering involved. It could be around the business, your work. You might not feel alignment there. It could be something going on with your family that's not quite right, your health. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to go deeper within yourself. It's an opportunity to learn new skills and to learn how you can heal yourself, improve your performance and your well-being. That's what owning your zone is all about. It's a holistic model, a performance model to help us be at our best, to unlock that next level of excellence. And you can only do it if you look at it through this lens. You can't do it by pushing harder, grinding harder. You can't get through the hard injuries and the hard times just by pushing and grinding. Yeah, you can, but it's not sustainable. So take the lessons that I've learned with these career-threatening injuries to be able to bounce back, to be able to learn new skills physically, mentally, and emotionally, to be able to restore your body, rewire the mind, and reconnect to your heart. Take these lessons that I'm sharing with you so that you can own your zone. This is what it's all about. Moving through the tough times, moving through the hard moments for us to up-level and get to that next level and to learn more about ourselves.